All right, y'all, we are live. Happy Tuesday. Listen, I cannot wait to get to a Tuesday. And you know what? I'm trying to find juicier topics every single day because I know some of y'all like to gossip. So I'm like, let me put the goss out here. Listen, I hope you have been doing as well as you can. I know there is so much happening in the world, and goodness, please know that my heart is with you. But some of y'all, we told y'all FAFO, it's FAFO season. So listen, I've been getting phone calls. Me and Tracy both, y'all, people like, what is going on with the president? I'm like, listen, now our advocacy right now is at Clark County School District. So we don't have to work as a team with this whole government system that's happening. But I think one thing that is so important is that we stay involved together, we stay informed, and we, keep paying attention and move together and make sure that we're supporting each other day by day. My name is Camila Bywaters, and I'm so excited to be one of the hosts for Let's Talk Education. Our goal and our hope is that we engage our community around topics on education. And we have some new people in the chat today. And if they would like to introduce themselves, they can. But we're going to go ahead and start our introductions with host Rodney and then our host Tracy.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Rodney Smith. I am the facilitator of the gathering. And on Tuesday nights, I get to join Sister Camila Bywaters, who ran for school board trustee of District E, but didn't need a title or an office to continue her advocacy and work for our young scholars. So it's really good to be here tonight. There's so much stuff going on in the news. And, FAFO is happening. And we need to figure out what we can do to change the course, because unfortunately, though we may feel like we have done our part and others didn't, it's going to impact us all. So we need to get on the same page, one team, one fight, and let's go for a win for the young scholars.
Tracy? All right, we'll come back to Tracy. So did anybody else want to say they're on the Zoom? I'm trying to hook up to the, anybody's welcome to introduce themselves in the Zoom if you would like.
This is Dane Watson, former appointed trustee of the Clark County School District and former teacher in social studies teacher in Arkansas.
Dean, did you say former?
Yes, sir.
Why is there a former attached to that?
Because the current North Las Vegas representative is Isaac Barron, who was the original selection by the city council and the mayor of North Las Vegas.
Okay, well, after other people introduce themselves, I want to come back to that because I just want to make sure I'm understanding what happened.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like to jump in. Yeah, I really do want to come back to that as well. To just put my marker in there.
Okay.
But hi, I'm Mercedes. Mercedes McKinley, current CCSD sub and SOSA. Which yeah, we could chat some stuff that I found out about the pay today. And I'm like, okay, but it is my honor. I'm so excited to introduce a new friend. So I literally just started at the school last week, and you guys know me, I like to talk. And so I met this wonderful gentleman right here, Mr. Benjamin Ray, who joins us tonight. He is an SPTA with our STAR program. And I've been really impressed with what I've seen at the school as a whole, but then what they're doing in that program. And I was just down here last week ranting about how we don't have enough educators of color. So anyway, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself, Benjamin, but it's an honor to have you here with us tonight.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Mercedes, for that introduction again. I couldn't said it more beautifully myself. I am Benjamin Ray. I am the Star SPTA over at Bartlett Elementary School. I work alongside with the wonderful and beautiful Mercedes. She was in my Star class this morning, or
Oh,
no, this afternoon, I should say, actually. Um, can't talk, sorry. Um, but yeah, she was in there this afternoon. We have two SPTAs in the class, another gentleman um, by the name of Alex, and then the teacher is Mr. O'Brien. So there's three wonderful males running this program, and we run a tight ship. STAR is, if you're not familiar, what STAR stands for is social emotional teaching reinforcement. So basically, what that means is we uh, we combine the social emotional with the academics and the behavior. And sometimes we are dealing with more behaviors than we are academics. We had a little blow up today where um, we had to deal with it, but we were able to get it under control. So some days are better than others, and yeah, I'm looking to continue my career in education to become a school social worker and minor in special education because special education is my passion. I also have lived with cerebral palsy for 37 years. Um, I actually currently live with three other individuals that also have disabilities as well. So um, there's that as well. So, and also have a podcast as well, where I interview different individuals that have disabilities as well. So,
thank you so much. Now listen, MM and BR, don't come on here and have CCSD looking for y'all. All right now,
well,
but please no, we got your back. Because sometimes we say a little, but listen, we got your back and we should be good to go. We've worked really hard to position ourselves, okay? So we could support those who want to be in community and just really talk about issues that are happening. Anybody else want to introduce themselves?
I'll introduce myself. I'm Gwen Amy. I was in the district for approximately 40 years, subbing
Ooh.
teacher, administrator, assistant principal. I remember Camilla when she was a little baby. I worked with her dad. So I'm on here because I'm just a big supporter of hers, and I'm always once you're in the educational system, you're concerned about what's going on there. So that's it.
Absolutely. Anyone else? All right, y'all, guess what come across the news? This is nothing new. But Oklahoma, so first of all, I got this from the Associated Press. So we've been talking about having our fact checked. There's another organization called factcheck.org that fact checks anything right now that's going out in regards to what's happening in our society and within government. So I'm going to make sure that I provide you the link to that. But the Associated Press, in education in Oklahoma, they've been off the chain in Oklahoma, y'all. So Oklahoma is proposing parents to provide immigration status when enrolling students. Now, here's like the hypocrisy of the article. You read the article, it starts off with the superintendent of education. What is his name? His name is, what is his name? Goodness gracious, I had his name right here. The superintendent of education. They want students now to enroll, parents to enroll, and then put their immigration status. In the top of the article, he's talking about, oh, we want this so that we can better serve our students. Come on, y'all. The Oklahoma superintendent has been in the news and has really been a big supporter of Orange Theory. Then if you go down in the article, which I'm going to give you the link to it shortly, it says, why is the rule being proposed? And his name is Walters. Superintendent Walters says, it's to account for how many students of illegal immigrants are in our schools. Then if you go down, obviously people are not happy about this and they've criticized this, right? Then if you go down, it says, what will Oklahoma do with the information? Walters has said he will support efforts by Trump to enforce immigration laws, including allowing U.S. immigration and custom enforcement agents into the Oklahoma schools. Sir, you didn't said two things in the whole entire article. At first, you said you're doing enrollment for immigration status to better serve students. And then at the end of the article, you talking about you've typically been in line with what Orange Theory is proposing in regards to having immigration officers go into schools and in churches and things of that nature. The hypocrisy is real. About y'all, do you prefer a liar or a hypocrite? Which one is more like, to me, I'm like, the hypocrite is really it's getting on my nerves. I think the hypocrite is more annoying to me than the liar. I don't know. What do y'all think? I'm going to post this in the chat right now so you can read it. And I'm going to post it in the FB Live. Big shout out to our people on the live. We have Belinda Denise. Thank you so much for always tuning in and being supporter. So I'm putting that in the chat. Goodness, like, I saw a CCSD post. Who posted this? Vicky Crydell posted this today. There was a parent who said that he is gathering up his parent friends so they can gather up the immigrants and let ICE know who the immigrant kids are in schools.
Here?
Yes, Vicky Crydell posted it. Now, apparently, this MAGA nut, because you know how they do, they like to, what do we call him? The keyboard
Warriors.
The keyboard warrior. He was all up on the keyboard. And I think once people started going in on him, he's nowhere to be found. But it was literally posted. You got to go check Vicky's website out. Was it on Twitter? Or she might have been, it was on Facebook or Twitter. And saw his comment on social media. So we're in strange. Well, I don't know. I didn't know if I want to say strange. I mean, we've been here before. So I'm going to post this link for you all. I already posted the link for the Oklahoma situation, and then I'm going to post it in the chat.
So who is this person that?
I'm
who is this person that shared this information?
About the CCSD parent?
Yes.
That was Vicky Crydell.
Is she? I don't know her. Is she on our side?
Yes, she's one of the union representatives. She's with NSCA. So I didn't get to screenshot it because I don't know what I usually screenshot that kind of stuff, but she is absolutely on our side.
And you know, I'm glad that you used the word side, because I think we need to be more real with the people. There are sides, and it's almost like we're the union and we're refighting or having a second go at the Civil War, because it's like the same people with the same ideology. And we need to pick a side.
Yeah, we do. Absolutely.
Because there is no fence sitting, there is no middle. It's either you're for what's right or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're talking about is, during slavery, there was the Fugitive Slave Act. And the Fugitive Slave Act basically deputized every citizen, every person, to turn in those who they felt were slaves. Now, slaves were not citizens of this country. Even if you were free, you were not a citizen of this country. And if you remember the story of Solomon Northup from 12 Years a Slave, you know that if you were free, all it took was somebody to grab you and put you on a plantation to be enslaved. What we are seeing today with things like that is citizens who typically are white, but not always. And we're seeing a reenactment of the Fugitive Slave Act, except this time it's with the fugitive immigrants. A good percentage of the people that they're snatching up as immigrants have been American citizens or have been here legally. They don't care. Remember the young man that 45 pardoned the 2 police officers for? He called them a bad illegal. He was a black man. That name, immigrant illegal, The president is, man, I almost just puked when I said the president. The guy in the office now is trying to bring back, I believe it's the Insedition and Insurrection Act. I want to say it's 1798. Maybe somebody could fact check me on the actual date of that. But he's trying to bring that back. And when he brings that back, what it says is that he has the authority without any due process needed to deem anyone illegal and deport them out of this country. He also said that Native Americans who've been scooped up in ICE raids are not subject to the Constitution and can be deported too because they're not covered under the Constitution. I want you to see how this was supposed to be dangerous, undocumented people who were in this country creating crime. I put something in the chat that said yesterday was Holocaust Remembrance Day. The whole concept was so we would never forget, which was supposed to keep it from happening again. Looks like, I should have said, it isn't working. We need to call what we're seeing what it is, because it will metastasize like any disease that goes unchecked, and it will go from first them to someone else, and it's already going to us. A war has been declared against us, and we have already taken casualties. The shot at Fort Sumter has happened. We need to get our head in the game because they're coming for our heads, but they're coming for our children. Absolutely. And they're coming to our children to how can they expel our children? How can they tell our children that they're not smart? How can they ignore IEPs? They're coming for our children.
Absolutely.
So I cannot stress how important this time is. We are in the same moment today as our ancestors were in the 50s and 60s, except it's worse because they were creating laws that were getting us out of it. The people today are revoking laws to put us back into it. It's a huge difference.
Wow.
You know,
Woman Thomas. Yeah.
Hi, and hello, everyone. I was going to be silent. I really was. But hearing Rodney say just what he said, they're coming for our children. This is what I was so against in 2023 in the 82nd session of our legislature. When bills AB 285, presented by another Black woman, and AB 330, presented by our governor. And both bills dealt with expulsion of our children. And they can say what they want to say, they can dance on a thumbnail. Those bills were made for expulsion of our children, our Black children. Unapologetically, I am speaking about our Black children right now. And this is what is happening. Right now, this president that 77 million people voted for, it will affect our HBCU colleges when they decide after the courts, and we know the courts will favor him, take away those federal loans, take away our access to education. When that man stood before those mics and said that the Hispanics, they need to leave our country because they're taking away jobs, who do you think that they were referring to? And what jobs do you think that they were? We laughed about it. You know, are they talking about, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm, a head of a university. They weren't talking about us. Yes, they were. He
Right.
was talking specifically because he does not feel that we are well educated enough to be in those positions of perceived power. And I have to say perceived power because we have no power in this country.
Yeah.
So, yes, they're coming after our kids because they don't believe that our kids are educated enough, and we're allowing it to happen. 4 people were against both bills in the 82nd session. 4 people. 2 Black people, 1 Asian person, and 1 white woman were against those bills. Why? Because we all knew who they were directed at. And you're going to tell me no. And I'll say it out loud right now because I don't give a, as I said during session, I don't give a sugar.
Yeah.
The truth is the truth. And when we have leaders, Black leaders, that sat there and pressed the green button for that bill, for both bills to go through, yes, you came after our children. And there's nothing we can do right now. Nothing. So don't tell me that, come on, let's get together. We had an opportunity and
Absolutely.
you did what? You did what? You did nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And to go along with that statistic, so right now, so LAVAPSE, the Las Vegas Alliance of Black School Educators, we've tried so many times to work with the district on the expulsion of Black students. So if you go to the Nevada Accountability Portal, you can go to the Nevada Department of Education and you can see the statistics. Black children are only represent about 14 to 15% of the student population, and they're expelled at 40+%. Like, them numbers ain't mathing at all. So what we're finding is that students, Black children, they're the only group that are really being marginalized at this level in the Clark County School District. And really you can see comparable statistics across the nation. But what we're finding is that some of the students are being suspended and expelled for situations that are frivolous matters that really can be handled in the school. So we're not talking about violence, harmful things to themselves and other students. We're talking about very minute infractions, all right? So that's where we are. Really quick, I wanted to go back. Trustee Watson, are you able to talk? Okay, we'll come back to Trustee Watson. So the topic for tonight. So last week, January 23rd, was a school board meeting. And
I'm back.
oh, Trustee Watson, you're back?
Yes.
All right, so some of our members wanted to know, they wanted to just to talk to you a little bit about you being the former trustee, and now we have Trustee Barone.
Okay. So
They want to know, how did that happen?
the city of North Las Vegas and the city council, Mayor Gorns Brown, they originally had appointed Isaac Barone as their trustee to represent the city of North Las Vegas. But because Councilman Barone was also a teacher, you cannot be a teacher and a school board member at the same time. So the city of North Las Vegas was looking for someone to hold the position temporarily until he retired, because Councilman Barone was retiring at the end of this school year, May. But they didn't. The school board didn't care. They was like, no, he's still an employee, and so they eventually. I met with the mayor and their city manager and a few others, and they decided to appoint me as their representative for the city of North Las Vegas, because I am a resident of North Las Vegas. And it was a 6-month term, but I was there for about 7.5 to 8 months.
Trustee Watson, you did a phenomenal job on that board. I just want to let you know that. And we critical of these members now, but you
I
made the
know.
cut, Trustee Watson. You did an amazing job. I just want to make sure that I let you know that. And we're so thankful that you stepped in for that time. I know it was really chaotic and all the things. So thank
Yes.
you so much for that time.
Yes, thank you. And it was definitely eye-opening, as that was the time when Superintendent Jar was trying to get $1 million to walk away.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
it was a little wild and crazy. So but I think the whole idea behind Assembly Bill 175 was to bring about new voices and to elevate the conversation on the school board. And so hopefully we did that while I was there for that short period of time. And I think that we'll see what happens with this next legislative session, what that encompasses.
Thank you. Listen, y'all. So big shout out to Dr. Hamilton. He's listening. I think I already said Belinda Denise and anyone else who is watching, but who has not said that you're watching. We welcome you to the moment we've all been waiting for. Now, listen, y'all. I wanted to have a conversation about toxic administrative behaviors in the Clark County School District. You would think that one of the safest places in the world would be in the schools with your children. Y'all, it is not in some places. Before we get into the conversation, Before we get into the conversation, I want to play the public comment. One of the public comments. There was quite a few public comments that were like, whoa, raise awareness. I want to play the public comment. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I will give you the link to the public comment, but I want you to hear some of this teacher's experience. All right, here it goes.
Students need and deserve better. Sorry. She mistreated me to the point where I needed to see a psychiatrist for the first time in my then 42 years of life, and he advised me to leave my job for the sake of my health. Ms. Killinois's interactions often lack transparency and respect, leading to a significant decline in morale and trust among faculty. She has created a toxic atmosphere of anxiety and division, which is contrary to the values we strive to uphold in our school community. She has made me and others feel targeted and unsafe in the workplace. A recent example of this was when our administrators were asked to send me a 30-second clip of a song that represented them for a faculty getting to know you activity. Ms. Killinois had a learning strategist text me a short clip from the song "Bitch Takes One to Know One" by Len and Stella. I have screenshots of the conversation that took place in the actual clip of the song that was sent to me. This made me feel targeted by both Ms. Killinois and that learning strategist.
Y'all better get up out of here. You mean to tell me the principal of the school had the learning strategist text this young lady this song during a collaborative camaraderie type of thing? Now, before y'all say, oh, she calling people out, no, this is public comment. You can go back to the Clark County School District. You can get at the public comment. It's public. It's out there. So this is what it is. And one thing that I think is so important with LAVAPSI, Tracy and I, this has been one of our top main priority issues that obviously you can see has still not been handled within the Clark County School District. We even connected with the EEOC, y'all, to bring our community an opportunity to understand how to document, how to protect yourself, not in corporate America, in school systems. And the thing that I always say is, if an adult is treating another adult like that, imagine how they're treating the kids in the school who are vulnerable. So I wanted to have this conversation because I know that there are people who deal with toxic administration. And we are hoping that one day under this moon, okay, one day we will have school accountability. I hate using the word leaders now after we didn't talk about leaders and elected and all this stuff, but that one day the school officials will make this a priority to have a school system and a culture and a climate and an environment that respects humanity. We just got a call the other day about this school up here, Johnston, from a different set of people that work at the school that are complaining about this school and pretty much saying the same thing about the toxic environment that the last year staff was saying. That was a whole different staff. So I wanted to open this up because I don't know if anyone else has had some experiences, even if you've had an experience in corporate America. If you want to share, I know some people may not be comfortable with sharing, but these things are happening. And who knows how much empowered and emboldened that people will be in the wake of where we are with our, with just where society is right now. When I heard that, I literally was like, I'm done. Like, why y'all didn't send me that? Why you didn't send me that text? Go ahead, Mercedes.
Well, it just reminds me, because as soon as I saw your topic, I was like, oh, and these are past experiences. Thank goodness. Like, you know, because I refer to my relationship with CCSD as you know, like a little bit abusive, but I keep coming back. And so this was a few years ago. But I was in the, you know, of course I'm not going to name any one person or place, but I was in the AP's office to get something. And one of the specials teachers called because the fifth graders were putting something, pencils or something, in the electrical outlet, and she needed help. And she was like, well, just send them to, you know, the cafeteria or whatever. Just something really dismissive. And she slammed the phone, Dad, and she said, passive aggressive female dog. My daughter's here. I can't say it. And right in front of me. And that was the thing that I was like, she doesn't give up. You know, she didn't care. Like, and so this is what's wild, right? Do I tell said teacher that that was said about her and then build on the toxicity? Who do I go to? You know, because I really didn't know what to do. And she's like, this with the principal. So they look, you know, so that's the thing, right? So that's what's wild, even when we're talking about, you know, everything that's happening now and these protections being gone. I was scared before all this was taken away to speak
Right,
up.
exactly.
So sorry, that's my two. But yeah, I've seen to that level right in front of other staff about teachers and just awful. Yeah.
Wow. Goodness gracious. Anyone else?
So, hi everybody, Tracy Lewis. I just want to add that, adding on to what Mercedes was talking about, I've seen it, I've heard it, and I've dealt with it. But I'm that person that if you got a pen, I got a pen, and we can just do this all day. But one of the things that a lot of these administrators are doing is that they're going around calling themselves the Terminators. And so they make people feel very uncomfortable. And it is the friend of a friend of a friend that is usually in these positions. And then when you look at the associate superintendents, you really don't know even which way to go with them, because most of the time they've hired these principals that are their friends. So even if you go to them and then you try to, you know, go to a different school, there's still going to be some level of retaliation because they all communicate. And so when you're thinking you're going to another school to have a fresh start, it's not really a fresh start. You're just going to deal with whatever this abusive situation is, like what Mercedes is saying. But, you know, when we look at what's going on from the top down in the district, that is why we're having a lot of the issues that we're having right now. The culture and the climate is just, you know, really piss poor across the board. There's no other way to explain it, to say it. Folks are in fear of retaliation, of losing their job or being demoted. You know, if you're not doing what they ask you to do, if they want you to go after somebody and you tend not to go after the person that they're telling you to go after, then there are a lot of factors that go into this whole situation and these dynamics. And I think once we know, or once we get a new superintendent that is going to help to change the culture and the climate of the district, where now there has to be a streamline of protocols that's the same across the board. Because initially that was the intent, was everybody's going to be on the same page doing the same thing the same way for the most part, but that never happened. But this stuff is across the board, and it's just not in no one general area. This is district wide, this is central office, it is across the board. So I did want to say that. I want to back up to Assemblywoman Claire Thomas's statement and comment. I do want you to know that Mr. Gene Collins has been on the Black electeds about everything that you're talking about over the past, God, I don't even want to count the years, but there have been so many things that the Black legislators have not done that they could have done to help support our kids, to help support our community, that they did not. And, you know, I'm not trying to have like a racial war or anything going on, but when Sandoval was the governor, the Hispanics got this money to do this programming in the community with the students, but the Black electeds didn't ask for anything. And I remember Mr. Collins just really going in on them about that, because we're asking for the same thing. We're asking for dual languages across the board. And so obviously, no, we didn't get anything from that. And so here we are having the same conversations, like maybe 50 years later, about the same stuff that has been going on, and the things that we fought for, we've lost it, because everybody feels like they're in that space of we've arrived. And everything Donald Trump is showing us, okay, I'm sorry guys, 47 is showing us we haven't arrived. Right. And if anyone gets a chance to listen to Roland Martin, yeah, like he broke it down. Like, I'm not even going to try to say what he said, because once I listened to him, it made sense to me. And at the end of the day, this is about money, the economics, and they feel like the Blacks were starting to, I guess, get above their means or be above their means or whatever. But this is really about economics. And if we do not pull this stuff together, we are going to be in like a whole lot of trouble. And I did want to say hi to Dr. Hamilton. He's one of the founding members of LAVAPSI. So I wanted to give him his kudos, since a lot of people think LAVAPSI just fell off a pumpkin truck, a couple of years ago. We've been around for a long time, guys. And it was kind of started here in Nevada with Mr. Moody. And so one of the original founders is on our call, and Dr. Young is the original founder as well. So when Camilla and I are having these conversations and we're telling you guys about the NAPSI conferences and things of that nature, this stuff is real. We don't have time to sit and make up things, and we don't have time to deal with rumors and allegations. We're coming with facts and data. And so I think I have said what I needed to say to get it off of my chest, but everything that Camilla has said is true. Yes, we both been getting calls today about Mr. 47. And it's like, well, he told us what he was going to do. And, you know, the Democrats didn't have anything in place. And so now they're trying to play catch up. And so there's going to be a lot of rich attorneys right now. So if you have a law degree, this will be the time to kind of cash in, because they're going to be spending a lot of time this next year, 2 years dealing with this stuff. And if anybody's interested in running for office, one of the things that I've been hearing in some of the Zoom calls that I've been on is, from a community perspective, we need to start finding people to run for office and make sure that we get behind them and that we support them, because that will be one way to maybe beat this situation. Coming up, I think it's in 2026, we'll have an election cycle, and then in 26 and 28. But then the whole boycotting and things like that. So there is a lot of information, but make sure you're taking care of your mental health, because this has just been the first 2 weeks, and everybody's got whiplash and trying to figure out what's going on. So in these conversations, they are saying for us to make sure we're taking care of our mental health, and then to be creative and find ways to get engaged and involved, and not to just run with whatever the narrative is that they're going to be trying to put out, from the White House. So that's all I have to say. I am going to put myself on mute, and thank you all for listening to me.
Thank you. Assemblywoman Thomas.
Thank you. I have to laugh at myself, because if I don't laugh at myself, then, like Sister Tracy said, I think I'll probably need a mental health day. But, laughter, you sometimes you have to laugh at this stuff because you just can't believe it. It's almost like when we were talking about the administrators in our school system. It is so top heavy, and I believe that you and I, and we've done one of these before, and I've said, I've gotten the numbers, I got the flow chart to see. I looked at Chicago, I looked at New York, I looked at California. These are you know school districts that are higher than ours. And they are not as top heavy with administrators as we are. We're the 5th largest, and we have so many administrators. Who's teaching? Who's in the classroom? Who's doing the work? Everybody wants to be administrator. Why?
Wow.
Ask that question, why? And then, our poor children are sitting there with, no offense to the substitutes, but with substitutes. They need to be back in the classroom.
Yeah.
So hopefully the new superintendent will look at his chart and see how many people are sitting there getting paid to be agitators, because that's what they're doing.
Absolutely.
So I think, just, to jump on the bandwagon from Sister Tracy, it is imperative for us to make our legislators do their job.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. And when I say that, it's not because I'm not up there, because I felt that I did my job.
Right, absolutely.
And my job was to represent the community, not represent the lobbyists, not representing the leadership, because I was that voice that, and that's probably why leadership was not behind me, because I said no to some of the things that I knew in my heart would affect our communities. Not only the Black community, the Hispanic community, as well as our indigenous community. And when we talk about power and money, it is perceived. I keep saying that word, and I want people to understand that minorities, we only have perceived power. We have no power.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So once you learn that, then, and I believe that's what Roland Martin was trying to tell people also. You got to get in the game. And once you're in that game, to have the power, you need the money. Because everything else is perceived. They give it to us to keep us quiet. And now they have 47 in there, and they don't even have to give it to us anymore, because they don't care. DEI tells you they don't care.
Absolutely.
So that's I promise, I'm not going to say anything else.
No, we need it. We need more voices. Because, they be like, Camila and Tracy, Mr. Rodney, it's just them. It's just only they, the people in the world who talking something. Big shout out really quick to Trustee Tamika Henry. She's in the Facebook Live, Pastor Kelsey West, and then also Drake. Now, Dr. Hamilton asked this question. Has there been an effort to organize questions, complaints, and issues in need to be addressed, put in writing to be shared with any or all the folks who might get to interview superintendent candidates? To my knowledge, I
No.
haven't seen any official organizations. However, once we get, I know that Lavapsy, we gonna be up in there like white on rice. So I definitely I would like to see if we can to have some of the people who are interested to come on this show, so that we could talk to them. I don't know if that would be in conflict of interest of their, applying, but I'm definitely going to send out that invitation. We do have to be very, very careful, because my understanding is that there are like 36 or 38 individuals who applied, and only a few, and not half of them were not even qualified to do the work. So, all the people, the MAGA nuts talking about DEI. Listen, first and foremost, we're gonna do a really big breakdown of DEI, because I'm seeing just a lot. It's just misinformation around it and what it is. Like, listen, DEI is not about giving unqualified people work, and we will talk about that. But we definitely want to be careful during this time. We don't need any extremists getting in, which would be an example of how the Oklahoma superintendent that we just talked about, who also put in, they wanted to do the prayer in school. And then the Oklahoma superintendent also does like a video that he wants the school system to watch like every morning. Like, who are you? King superintendent? Like, what is going on? But anywho, if there's any other people, I did want to share one story for me when I first started teaching. I started teaching in my 20s. I was licensed teacher. And one thing that my dad told me, my dad said, Camila, document everything. And when I tell you, that was probably the best advice that he gave me. He said, document everything, because when you start working in CCSD, if they do not like you, Camila, they will set you up. Let me tell you what happened to me at Canyon Springs, y'all. I was like enemy number one in my 20s. Enemy number one, you could imagine. I did a training. The leaders at the school, the principals at the school really didn't care for me too much, because I spoke up on behalf of students with disabilities. And I also reported a teacher who came to school drunk and smelled like alcohol, and told my children that his dead dog was smarter than them. Okay. I complained about that, and they started looking at me, y'all, clocking my moves, clocking everything. And I'm thinking, well, hold up, the drunk gets to still be here? I had did a training one day. My assistant principal had her daughter, which I didn't know was her daughter or stepdaughter, sub my class. So what is that all about, right? So me and another teacher I happened to go walk back to my classroom. The stepdaughter and her stepmama, were going through my desk. The teacher next to me, his whole face turned red. And so we turned around, walked away. He was like, Camila, what was that? I was like, that was some setup type of stuff. And we caught them. His whole face, my teacher friend, because we were on break from the training. His whole face turned red. And that's when I remembered my dad saying, you got to be careful, because these people in this district will do some dumbness like that to try to ruin your career. And at that time, that was in 2009-ish. That was around, 2009, 10, around that time. So the brakes was off the rail. Like, nobody was helping really anybody. And it's still, maybe today you could get a little bit more help than you could then, but it was off the chain. And the fact that my colleague, his whole face turned red and was like, Camila, what are they doing? I said some dumb stuff. And that was the kind of, in my 20s, y'all, in my 20s, I'm a new teacher. At that time, I felt like you all should have been trying to nurture me, help me, be a promising teacher, whatever. But in my opinion, what I felt was happening was that they saw that I was a promising person. I did school. I loved to be in school. and that they were trying to keep me from moving up in the district, which to this day I am impacted. So we about to get that fixed immediately. But from 2008, I've been impacted by that silliness situation at Canyon Springs High School. One of the last things that happened to me, the what's her name? One of the assistant principals wrote me a note, was like, Camila, I am so what they will do is they will try to divide you. Like if you have somebody that you work well with, the people with toxic spirits and evilness, if they see that you have a good relationship with somebody, they'll try to divide you with that person. So what they did, I had a secretary, assistant principal secretary who was really cool with me. I was cool with her. She gave her secretary, which was my cool friend, she gave her a basket to give to me with all kinds of sweets and cookies and a nice letter, giving me a lot of praise for the work that I do. Not giving the person who does work for her all the work and the praise that she does, right? Brings this basket to me, and I'm like, this is not good at all. Do you know 2 weeks later, the same lady who tried to divide my friendship sent me this basket telling me how I was one of the best teachers on campus, and then wrote me up 2 weeks later? Mm-hmm. I said, you know what? I'm done with y'all. So that's the kind of stuff that they will do, and they continue to do, is they do divide and conquer. And then the coldest piece, it's going to be my last one. Anybody else? I had got disciplined. I can't remember. I think it was one, I had showed a PG-13 movie. And this is why I know kids are not getting sex changes in schools, because you can't even show a PG-13 movie in the school. So how you coming to school to do a whole surgery, go back and different when you get home, right? I'm trying to still figure that one out. But I showed The Blind Side, and this was a whole setup too. I showed The Blind Side. Well, let me go back because I got to show you the setup. The facilitator came to me and said, hey, Camila, we have some out of compliance IEPs. Can you help me write the IEP? I said, sure. When do you need it? She's like, we need them as soon as possible right now. So I went to go write the IEP, put on The Blind Side, which you can't put on Blind Side because that's PG-13. Soon as I did that, I got evaluated. And I was like, y'all, ain't this a hot mess? So whatever. But when I went in to go sign the paperwork for the discipline, the principal handed me her pen. And I'm thinking, why are you giving me your pen? And quickly it was, I have the power of the pen, and I'm the dictator over your career in the Clark County School District. I took that pen, threw it right in the garbage. Boop. But that's the kind of stuff that has been going on. This was back in the 2008s, 9s, 10s when I was in the district as a new teacher. So when I heard that story of this young lady talking last week, I was like, they still at it. And no one is courageous enough to create a culture and a climate that values the humanity and the work that our teachers put in to be there every day. So it does happen. It's still happening. There's been plenty of people who filed EEOC complaints. So for me, as we're looking for a superintendent, LVAPC, a lot of our work is going to be making sure that we have a superintendent who really sets the tone for how administrators, teachers, how everyone is dealing with each other. Because this cannot be how we operate, especially in schools when we're teaching our children to be honest and respectful human beings. It's a hot mess out here, y'all.
And like you were saying, your father was the wise man, because professional developments do not teach us to document.
Right.
To document. Right. To document against co-workers and administrators. We don't get taught that. We get taught that's a school of hard knocks when you get taught that. Because I've been taught that now. Document. And if you're not sure, you send an email saying, so per our conversation, or for my clarification, you can't seem smarter than them. So you got to say, like, per my clarification, yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For record.
Yeah, and that's the
Well, you don't
pushback
want to
part.
say record. No, you don't want to say record because then they know you keeping a record or something. Just says for clarification. And somebody said that on the last meeting, last call or something. You can't seem smarter than them, and that's just insulting to me that you can't seem smarter than them if you are.
Yeah.
You know, back in the 60s and the 70s, you would have all of these really brilliant Black people, but they were working around a vast majority of white people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were smart, you usually had to pass it on to another white person to get that thing,
Let me mute my mic.
to get that thing
Yeah.
out. So if you wanted to improve something, you would have to pass it on to a white coworker or something for it to be considered. And at the beginning of the show, I was talking about how it almost seems like the lost cause narrative has won out and that we're back in the Civil War all over again with the North and the South. And the way that you just described that took me back to those times when Black people couldn't get patents, so to speak, and whatever you created, your owner had to get the patent for you. Now, legally, Black people could get patents. They just didn't want you to get the patent. Mm-hmm. There was initially there was no restriction on that. So we said when Kamala Harris was running, we're not going back. Though we are not going back, those on the opposite side, and they are on the opposite side, they want to go back, and they're doing everything within their power to take us back. And I'm making an appeal to everyone here in the Zoom, as well as those of you who are on Facebook Live. I heard today that there are more Republicans registered in Nevada for the first time in 17 years. First time. We lost Nevada this last election to 45 and the governorship. That governorship is hugely important because he controls the National Guard and who comes and goes out of this state. Every office is important. Foot stomp, and I hope we get that. But it's more of us than it is of them. And we need to remember that. We need to internalize it and know it. But we have to activate. We have to be active. We have to organize because we're not outnumbered, as Brother Maurice says, as a quote, we're out organized. Mm-hmm. And we need to organize because they are coming and they will be here. Unfortunately, our elected officials told me, was it Sunday, at the meeting at the schoolhouse at KCEP, that there's nothing that they can do. We are at the mercy of them. And of course, the next day was Holocaust Remembrance Day. And I had this, there was a picture of a Jewish person watching the train go by that had their family and neighbors on it heading to the camps. And the whole purpose of Holocaust Remembrance Day, again, was to make sure that we didn't forget so it wouldn't happen again. I didn't forget. And I'm determined not to be one of those people standing by watching my neighbors, possibly family or friends, being taken to who knows where. And as a community of people, we need to take a stand because you will either stand up to the American Führer or you will surely kneel to him. It's your choice.
Yeah.
No.
Goodness gracious. You know what? I see some new names joining us on the Facebook Live. So I want to make sure that I shout them out. I already did say Drake, but I wanted to shout him out again. And then also Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us. Thomas said we need to organize and strategize. Dr. Hamilton said, hopefully our trustees will insist on multiple community groups, have an opportunity to meet with the final candidates and have their questions addressed. LAVAPSI is one community group that Black pastors, Black parents, professionals, and others such as Rotary, etc., will have input. We know some will have input that will not share with us, but our children need multiple groups to speak for them.
So I want to go back to that input thing. Is we need what Thomas said is what we need to do. Because if everybody is giving input and it's not sort of a single voice, then they will blow us off. Yeah. Because they say, well, if I do what this one says and not do what that one says, then I'll get in trouble with this one and not that one, but then and they won't do anything. Before we all start going out and doing our thing, again, I make another appeal to you. As we recently celebrated Dr. King's birthday and King Week, he organized. Absolutely. He strategized, he planned, and he trained. And then once he did that, then they executed. And they executed until they were successful. I know people are amped up, as am I. And we need to be, we should be. But let's use that energy to organize and strategize and do it with the quickness, because we're far behind the starting line and they're already halfway around the track. Right. But we're Black people, right? We've always come from behind and won. So, but we do need to organize. We do need to strategize. We establish those plans and we coordinate these efforts. And that's how we move forward and be willing to sustain whatever we start. We cannot just pop up and disappear, because that's what they're expecting us to do. Right. So please, we have to. To you pastors out there, especially to those of you who say, well, I don't know if I should be involved because I'm a pastor. Well, you're a human being first. You're probably a Black person. Liberation for Black people was in the church. For you ancients out there, remember, Prince Hall was an abolitionist. So this excuse of I cannot, for you Divine Nine who have your nonprofits, yes, you do, but you are still an individual. And you can organize other individuals that are Divine Nine on a personal level and not from your organizational perspective. Yes, to the NAACP, NAN, and other legacy organizations. I am telling everybody to support our legacy organizations, but you all need to do more and you need to do better. And I'm trying to send people your way. I will do that, but you need to do your part. And then to the congregation and to the people, here's a quote for you. And I've used it before, because I keep saying, we're waiting on this one and they're going to do it. And no, it's us and it's now. And that quote is, if the people will lead, the leaders will follow. The leaders that we thought were leaders have not led us. Now it's time for us to lead and not wait for them to tell us what to say. Right. Let's tell them what we want and need, and then make them do their job when it comes time for them to be at the seats of power. That is imperative. You pastors, please stand up and be like the pastors of the King era. We need you, but I'm giving you a warning now. Either you do it or you will be pushed aside, because the younger people in me are not waiting and I cannot hold them back. Either you lead or others will lead, because you have failed in your position as the shepherd of your flock. And that goes to all you organizational heads. We're in this position. Our community needs leadership. Step up and lead, or step aside. One way or the other, we're coming. Absolutely. With or without you.
Absolutely. And some of the tactics that I've seen. So again, independent media, please support. There's a few that I like. There's the Midas Touch. I think they do a great job. Oh, there's these two little white women. Oh my gosh, I love them. They're iHip, and I'll put all of the independent media. So iHip, they are great. Don Lemon, and what's his name? Brian Tyler Cohen, and also Roland Martin there, and there's more. And then also Tabitha Speaks Politics. So I'll make sure that I put all those individuals out. But during this time, our legacy media, which is media that is our typical CNN, and we already know Fox is already wayward, but some of the national Fox, national Fox, some of the media, they're not reporting the news accurately. They're not telling the truth, and they're kind of letting things slide with some of this abnormal behavior that we're witnessing. So it's really important that you start to engage with independent media, vet them, make sure that it's a reliable source, because we need to hear the truth and unfiltered truth. Some of the tactics that I've seen happening, the reason that there's such a blitz of all these executive orders, all these, every day it's something, over the weekend while you're asleep, things are going on. That's all a tactic to confuse people. And then it gets you kind of frantic. You're like, oh my goodness, I don't know where to start. We're just doomed. It's designed to make it so that we give up and we don't pay attention. I'm sorry, but unfortunately, a lot of us do not read and we're not paying attention. So there's a lot of things just happening all at once. Some of it is not within the law. Some of it may be within the law. Who knows? Another tactic that's happening, for example, how we saw, and I, when I was thinking about this, some of my independent media also talked about this as well. The design is for Orange Theory to pick people who are not qualified. That's the purpose. He knows these people aren't qualified for the work, but the purpose is to dismantle what we know and to have people who are loyal to him. They don't want people, and exactly what Assemblywoman Thomas is talking about. If you read in the chat, she's talking about reading 48 Laws of Power. Y'all, I've read some of that and I'm like, dang, somebody gonna have to slap me upside the head to follow these rules, but it's true. Anytime, like when he doesn't want people who are critical thinkers, who may be smarter than him, because that takes away the loyalty. So all of the stuff that we're experiencing and witnessing and the things that are coming down, it's by design. So let's pay attention to that, know some of the tactics that are happening so that, like Thomas said, we can organize and strategize. Mercedes, did you have any last words?
I did real quick, and it actually ties in, I think, really well to the organizing part. So one of the reasons I launched my nonprofit, and it's called the Silver Beat, and like full disclosure, my husband helped me put together our pennies and file the IRS form. Like it's literally, it came from this apartment, every effort. But one of the things that inspired me is that I saw someone I know from Michigan had sent their high school student that they care for through a camp out east, and it was a Christian camp, but it was combined with law writing, basically. And they took these kids to Washington, D.C. They got to be on the floor, and I saw the schedule because she posted it, and it was like prayer study, a topic, and then go sit and watch the legislators, and they got to even do a mock bill, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. But at the same time, there was a really heavy, not just religious, but they all looked a certain color. I was like, I don't know that this is really diverse. Makes me nervous to combine religion this heavy with legislation. So that's why I got the idea. And for my nonprofit, my goal now, not for this year, because I just started it and I got to finish school. I kind of got a full plate. As soon as I'm done with school and I got that real job again, what I want to do is take our young people, start with this nonprofit. So far, I've just done community cleanup projects, small things. But my goal is to take young people through something like that, teach them about how laws are made in Nevada. And then by 2027, I've talked to Diana Lavelle. She's the only one because I need to sit down and ask the folks for money. But by 2027, I want to take a group of like high school age or even some college students up to Carson City to sit in and see what this is like. Because as somebody who grew up here, and I didn't know my elected leaders locally until like a year and a half ago. And that's a shame. And that's a shame. So I know from being in the district that this isn't being taught, and that's not going to be the channel to teach our young children. But just as Mr. Smith was saying, like we need, and then of course, run for office. This is what it looks like. This is what goes on here. You could do this too. And so, again, my process is a little more slow because I'm going to need to build the organization, but I have all the moving pieces, and my organization is called the Silver Beat. I'll put it in the box. I don't have much content up, but I just wanted to put that out there. That's what I'm trying to to do and inspire young people to go up to Carson City and have a, just an understanding of how this is happening. Like Assemblywoman Thomas said, because I'm like, what bills? Who didn't sign on? I feel so out of the loop, and we need to fix that.
Right. Well, Lavapsi, you have Lavapsi support. We have actually talked about as well. We wanted to do the same idea, but also take students to Washington, D.C. as well. So definitely when you're ready, we'll definitely be on board with helping to support that initiative so that we can start to work with our young people now. Great idea, Pumpkin Beans. Hey.
Hey, Sister Camila, I do have one other thing I want to share. Please be careful of the bird flu or the avian flu. It was on the East Coast in my family state of North Carolina, spread through the Carolinas. It's all the way to at least Louisiana now. And it's the avian flu or bird flu. It was in chickens. Then it went to cows. It even went to cats, people's house pets, ducks, and a couple of other species. It is spreading. But because Orange Theory has ordered the FDA and HHS to withdraw from WHO and not to communicate with WHO, the World Health Organization, and not to send out their weekly communiques to the various health organizations here in America, use your contacts of people and sources that you trust, because we may not be able to get it from the media as we did years ago. Now, I'm still going to support MSNBC because if they are gone, then all you have is the Fox and possibly CNN that's owned by a MAGA nut. So the avian flu is spreading. It is spreading fast. And because there is no coordination between state governments, for that matter, the United States government, not only will we be helping it spread here in America, but we will probably be the ones that cause it to spread to the rest of the world. So please be careful. And I'm suggesting to everyone that if you have freezers, to stock up on your poultry and your beef, if you eat poultry and beef, to do it now, because since there is no communication from our health organizations to the various health units in our states, in our counties and cities, there's no coordination. So in effect, it could spread throughout this whole country through beef and through poultry, and we will never know, and we'll go by it like normal and infect ourselves. It is infectious through, I believe it's airborne, but it's also through the touch. In other words, if it gets on you to the touch, very dangerous. This is not to scare people, but it is to inform us. And we have to do a better job of informing us of the things that are happening, because our government has officially decided they want to take a time out on safeguarding the health and welfare of the American people.
Yeah, they're on the golf course. Help us. Goodness gracious, y'all. That sounds like we need to have a great conversation with our State Department to see how information will be disseminated. Goodness gracious, y'all. We talked about so many topics today. We've definitely gone way past our time. That's okay. It's cool. If you need to leave, you can. Are there any last words before we log off tonight?
Just a quick couple of announcements. Let me see if I can read my writing real quick. But I did want to add to, I think, what Assemblywoman Farah was talking about before I give the announcement. One of the things about the teachers back in the day, if I understood this correctly, Blacks were really only allowed to teach when we were coming through slavery and all of that kind of thing. And then my understanding was, as the white counterparts found out about money being involved in the administrative piece, then that's when they started kind of crossing over and wanting to go more into administration. But initially, it was more of a Black profession for teachers, and then the administrative piece kicked in, and that's where the money is. So I did want to put that out there based off of some historical conversations that I had with some people. But so tomorrow is a shepherd's breakfast at the Wealthy Place from 9 to 12, and that's at 902 West Owens. Miss Evelyn Pacheco, Nevada Women in Trade, she has a meeting or conference on Saturday, February the 8th from 10 to 1, and that's over at the Westside Historic School. And there is a conference for women and men calling Maintaining Faith While I Wait, February the 23rd at 6 p.m. That's with Reconciliation Apostolic Ministries, 1401 North Decatur. And then we have Dr. Young's The Village Foundation, the 14th annual gala that is on Saturday, March the 1st at 6 p.m. So LAVAPC participates with that. I think we're gonna have a table. So if you guys want to sit with us and participate, that's money that goes to students that are going to college. And then the other two things is Nan's Legal Night has changed to Thursdays now at the same location, Nevada Partners, and the same time at 5:30. And then starting on May the 12th, which is a Monday, they will start having their regular NAN meetings on the second Monday in May, just so people can put it on their calendars. And then the NAACP meetings, I think the third Saturday of the month. And the Ministers Alliance, they're not meeting any longer. And then there was something else that I had a conversation with you, Camilla, about the Black Republicans with somebody else. So me and Mr. Rodney can talk about that and figure out if we want that to be an announcement or not. And I think that is it. Oh, and one of the Zoom calls, they said, watch the movie One of Them Days. I'm not sure what it's about, but this was a part of the conversations of mental health and all of that, and the strategies that they were giving for us to do with our constituents and our friends and family. So once again, thank you guys for being on the call and allow me to, say what I needed to say.
Thank you. That was a lot. I got to post all that stuff up. So again, if you want to get a table with LAVAPC, because we do support the Village Foundation, I'm going to send out the information for that, but I would love for us to support, and it's in March, so we got time to save up your coins to go with us. It will be a great night. I tell you, one thing Dr. Young can get that's a hustler right there, okay? She can get a room full of people up in that room, and it is such a great time. So we hope you can join, and the Village Foundation gives out scholarships, so it'll be great.
We give the money to you, Camila, if we want to sit with you guys.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you could do it that way because we're gonna get the table. Yep.
How much?
Her tickets are $150 this year.
Okay.
Inflation, y'all. Inflation, but we're gonna support a lot of students with scholarships. What you say the date was again? Tracy, what's the date for the Village Foundation Gala?
March 1st.
March 1st. Yeah, so we always get it in enough time so we could, save up to get a table.
Yeah, it's at the JW Marriott, and it's going to be at 6 p.m. They have a silent auction and all of that. And I'll make sure to send the flyer out so that everyone has it. But yeah, this is something that Dr. Young has been doing annually. So this is the 14th annual event.
Okay, and oh, you know what? Pastor West has one too. His is in April, so I want to support as well scholarship event, so we'll post that as well. So kind of give us a little bit of time to save our money up so that we can support. So anyway, we can't support you if we don't know about it. So please let us know. If you want to come on and talk about your events, please do. Benjamin, did you want to talk about your podcast one more time?
Yeah, thank you. Um, hmm. So my podcast, I started it about 3 years ago, during COVID. As we all know, COVID was a, hard time for a lot of people, but it definitely was uh, definitely a hard time when it came to people with disabilities. So, one day I was like, you know what? I need to do a podcast so I could shed more light on the disabled community and this beautiful community that we have, uh, made up of children and adults with disabilities. So I came up with a project, um, which is called Special Needs with Special Circumstances. That is the name of the podcast. You can find it on Apple and Spotify. It's on about six other platforms. So it's like on Google Podcasts and uh, a few other ones. I'll give them to Mercedes and Mercedes can send them to you. But I'm always looking for people to interview, um, either parents of a child with a disability or an adult child or uh, in or outside of CCSD. It doesn't matter. But I have 140 episodes currently up there right now. I'm looking to expand it. I need to get some podcasting equipment as well. I need to buy like a microphone and stuff like that. So, which I'm gonna be doing pretty soon here. Um, but yeah, it's basically uh I have a conversation and ask a various questions. What is it like, to live with a disability every day? And I have a whole podcast on there just dedicated to what it's like to live with cerebral palsy every day. So I also tell people to use that as a tool because a lot of people who may not live with a physical or emotional or a mental disability uh, may not know what it's like for us to live with a disability every day. So, um, 37 years ago, when I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, I did not know uh, in my wildest dreams that, how I was going to be able to deal with it and navigate uh, through those those challenges. So, I was I was in Denver, Colorado, and my mom at that time she was pregnant with me, and she slipped on the ice.
Oh.
Yeah, my dad was calling her to come see something. She slipped, and when I came out, I was like 28 weeks premature.
Mm.
Uh, so I was like a really small preemie, and just some of the things that I've had to endure. Um, so I've actually been around special needs for well over, mm, I'd say about almost 3 decades now. So I'm very in tune when it comes to special education. It's one of my favorite groups. I'm always there fighting for their rights and then making sure they're getting the services that they need. Um, Even at work, I try to not miss a day of school because I want to be there to make the difference for them and make sure that I'm making that uh, solo uh, strong impact on them every single day. So um, I want to do a group podcast soon. So I want to see how we can coordinate that and definitely support more when it comes to that community as well. So
Thank you so much for sharing, and I really appreciate you coming on. I know we went way over our time today, but and you stuck it in here with us. So thank you so much. Please know that we support your work, and anything that you need for us, we're all in. And do you know Stephen Cohen? He's
No,
an advocate in the disability community.
is he? Okay. Mercedes, are you still here?
She left.
Oh, okay. If I give you my like email information or my contact information, can you send me his contact information?
I will. He actually was supposed Stephen Cohen was supposed he was maybe so y'all, John Anzalone just jumped in the chat. Hey, Mr. Anzalone, how are you? So that was my sidebar. I looked over and he's right there. So what I was gonna say was Stephen Cohen was supposed to come in next week, but I have to confirm with him. But I know he's doing things at the legislature. He has some bills that he's trying to take up. So I'm gonna make sure that I connect him with you because I think you all would be great, resources for each other. But yes,
Yeah,
I will connect you with him.
yes. And any events that you guys have going on in Nevada and Vegas, I would love to join and be a part of and support. Because when it comes to like I said, children with disabilities and CCSD, it's definitely an important. Um, they definitely share a special place in my heart. So
Thank you. So really quick before we go off, I want to make sure that I get all of the quotes. So Belinda Denise said there are so many questions, concerns out there, and rarely any follow-up or answers from folks after they organize. Thomas Berry said that's information overload, and it really is when we're talking about Orange Theory, or yeah, information overload. John Anzalone said, "Good evening, everyone. Thank you for hosting and serving the community. We need advocacy more than ever. Hey, everyone. And the same, John Anzalone says, so happy to see everyone. Hello from Washington. You all, thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday night. We have some great, we're definitely going to have Stephen Cohen come on. He's an advocate in the disability community. I'm not sure if he'll come next week, but we'll see when he can come. The second week in February, we have Dr. Carrie Sampson coming. She has done extensive research on school boards and school board politics and how to navigate that. So I look forward to having a conversation with her and talking about her work across the country, focusing in on school boards. Everyone have a wonderful Tuesday. Stay alert, stay woke. Okay, we just gonna do it. And have a wonderful evening. And please let us know how we can support you. Listen, peace, love, and make a career out of humanity. Have a wonderful evening, my friends.